Good morning, I'm Dave Jones. Welcome to Western Principles webinar, introducing you to the newly released Project for the Web and how you might use it in your company for small and simple projects. In this case, we're going to be showing you how to use it in your accounting department. We always like to begin with the end in mind, so we're going to start with 3 things for you to think about as we show you the new Project for the Web today. Project for the Web continues Microsoft's tradition of excellence in project and portfolio management solutions. But at the same time, it's different from a traditional project management system, and Microsoft is building new ways to work in the solution. Project for the Web is intended for planning and managing simple projects. It's easy to learn and it's easy to use. Today, it's right for a variety of simple collaborative initiatives like you might have in an accounting department, in customer services, in marketing, and in many other departments. Project for the Web is part of the Office 365 family, and it's extensible with the Power Platform. For example, you can easily create dashboards with Power BI, drive integration with Flow, or create forms and workflows in Power Apps. You'll also find that it's tightly integrated to Dynamics 365, giving you a connected ERP platform. Let's get looking at the software. Today we're telling you a short story about a fictional Canadian company that has offices in Toronto and Vancouver. The Vice President of Finance is reviewing the KPIs in Power BI from her mobile phone, and she notices that the accounts receivable is getting really big for a few large customers. Still on her mobile device, she looks up her Director of Accounts Receivable in Teams and starts a call. They have a short discussion, and the director now has the mission to solve the problem and get these accounts current. The director knows he must quickly get a collections process in order. He's on Teams, and he sees that one of his team members is online in Vancouver, so he quickly calls him up. And after a brief discussion about what needs to be done, they start brainstorming some ideas. So in Toronto, the manager goes to the Innovation Hub. And the Innovation Hub is a Teams site that they've created inside Teams with Project for the Web. His colleague in Vancouver does the same thing, and they start collaborating on the plan. And that's where we find them right now. So here we are inside Teams. And this is our Innovation Hub. And this is just simply Project for the Web. We're going to start by creating a new project. So we just click on New Blank Project. Fairly easy. This opens up a blank canvas for us where we're going to start our work. And in here, we're going to go in and start by adding a project title. So this is our collection strategy. I can specify the start date for my project. And I can pick my work hours for the project. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to say, well, who's going to be working on this project with me? So I'm going to click on group members here and select my group. I can quickly add people to this group just by creating a list and searching for people. Or easier than that, I can go to an existing group and select a group and grab people from my collection strategy team and add them to this team. And now I've got my group members that I can start to schedule onto my project. So my colleague out in Vancouver, he and I are going to start actually creating a schedule. And the way we're doing this is we're sitting here looking at our board, and the board is like a big whiteboard, and the cards that are on here are like sticky notes. And so the two of us are starting to throw ideas at this wall and see what sticks, as it were. So I'm going to enter an activity here. And what you'll see at the same time is my colleague out in Vancouver is going to be creating activities as well. So there's my first activity in, really easy to do. I'll add another one in here. So you can see my colleagues added one in here as well. And he's going to continue adding that in. And while he's doing that, I'm going to flip over to the grid view. So here in the grid view, what we've got is a simple way to look at my activities as they're added in, and I can start looking at some of the details for these. So you can see here I can look at % complete, I can look at dependencies, and what you'll notice when you look at this is Microsoft's been pretty smart about the way that they've worded things. So typically from a project management perspective, you'd see predecessor and successor. What they've done is they've changed the language, because predecessor and successor is the lingo of project management, but it's not the language of people who are actually simple, creating simple projects, as call them accidental project managers, people who aren't trained project managers. So dependence after, dependence before. So with this, I can look at my dependencies, what activities have to happen after these. I can add in here other things like effort, start date, finish date, and so on. And then I can get a view of what's happening on my project. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add some durations. I can edit this directly just by entering durations in here. Or the other thing I can do with this is I can click on the little information button here, and this opens the details. And in here I can add a note, for example, if I need to add a little bit more detail. I could also quickly assign this to people just from the pull down. So as my colleague and I put this together and we're dealing with these cards or looking at the grid view, we start to get the impression of, well, how am I going to actually schedule these things out? What does this look like as a schedule? So we're just going to add some people to these activities. Right, and I can continue on adding people in. We're going to jump over to the timeline view now, however. And so what the timeline view does is it gives us a Gantt chart of what does this project look like. And this is a really easy user interface to play with. So to do a couple of things on here, one thing I can do is, first of all, I can hover over top of the activity itself in the Gantt bar, and I can change the duration of it just by pulling the slider. The other thing I can do is I can easily add these things as dependencies. So I've created my letters here, and I need to check those with legal. Well, all I have to do is grab the little connector, pull it down to the other activity, and what I'm doing now is I'm actually scheduling things. So I'm not defining the dates that these activities have to happen. I'm defining the relationship between these two activities, and they're automatically scheduling one another. The other thing I can do is reorganize tasks easily. So I can just simply grab the activities on the little handle over here, and I can move this up. So I'm generating my report ahead of creating my letters. And now I've reorganized my schedule. So what are we showing you here? Well, what we've shown you is it's a very easy interface to use, and it's really quick to build a schedule. What we're going to do is we're going to jump out of this and we're going to jump into more of a completed schedule. So you get a view of what does a complete schedule look like. So this is one that we were playing with earlier. And it's all built out. So here are all my activities. Here's my board. And here's my timeline. And now you might want to think about, well, great, I created this schedule, this list of activities, and sequenced them together, and that was really easy to do. How do I actually progress this now? How do I show people that there's activities happening and work is happening? Well, to demonstrate progress and to update activities, it's really easy to do. So there's 3 ways to do your updates. The first is simply to hover over the little circle here, and you see the check mark appears. And as soon as that check mark appears, I can click on it. And it'll mark my activity as complete. The other thing I can do if I want a little more detail in here is I can go to my details and I can specify my % complete. I can also specify down here the hours remaining. So in this activity, maybe the hours remaining are still 10 hours. and this will automatically move my schedule around. The other place I can go to update my schedule is over in the board. And with the board, you can see this activity has already been moved into the in progress space, and this one's been moved into the completed space. Well, I can simply grab these activities and pull them into the other column, and they'll automatically update. So what have we shown you here? What we've walked through is it's really quick, it's really easy to develop a schedule. Doesn't take a lot of training. So what we've shown you here is essentially the extent of the training one needs. It's very easy to understand, very easy to get into and use. The other thing is, in a similar manner, it's very easy to status it and to provide status updates and create a view that people can look at and use for the purposes of running a project, understanding what activities are happening, how long they're supposed to take, and who's responsible for them. So we started this story by talking about the way that you can look at information and understand things and make decisions quickly. And that was our Vice President of Accounts or Finance. She was looking at her Power BI report on her mobile device. Microsoft also has Power BI reports for Project for the Web. So if I flip over here to the Power BI reports, what you'll see is all of the projects that are in my environment, and I can drill down into these to get more detail on them. So I'm now getting a portfolio timeline view of all of my projects. And I can filter on this for the various projects and who owns the projects. I can also drill down in here and look at my resources and what they're working on. And I can get down into the individual project timelines. So what you've seen here is the ability to quickly get information that you can take action with and go make decisions to help move projects along, keep them on time, on budget, and on scope, and delivering return on investment. So what are your next steps? You've been introduced to Project for the Web. Where do you go from here? We think there are two things for you to do. The first is to look out into your business and look at what business areas do you have that need planning? Where do people need help creating project work plans and actually getting to business of doing projects? And assess their needs. Do they have light and easy projects that are good candidates for Project for the Web? Or do they have a little bit more sophisticated needs where they would need Project Online? Secondly, ask for help. So we're here to help do projects and make sure that your project management systems are done well. And we can help you determine the best PPM tools to suit your needs and help you get it up and running fast so that you improve your on time, on budget, and on scope delivery and drive return on investment. If you're interested in learning more about Project or implementing Project for the Web or Microsoft Project Online, we're here to help. Let's go.